The Newcomer, page 49. Never having seen a person who looked like that, Terry knit his eyebrows. The picture person must have never seen a person who looked like Terry, for he knit his eyebrows too. Wondering why the picture person wasn't wearing a long gown like all the other matrixes did, he leaned in for a better look. With wide, blinking eyes, he studied the bare chest. Where were the matrix's muscle lump bumps? As he studied this odd matrix, he moved his head from side to side. The window matrix did the same. That's when Terry decided to move in for a closer look, while the window matrix decided the same. An arm's reach away, Terry realized who this picture person was. It was my matrix. With his discovery, his eyes widened and his eyebrows raised. So did my matrix's. Terry shook his head at the mimicking matrix to get her to stop. The mimicking matrix did the same. Terry raised a warning finger at my matrix and shook it at her. My matrix wouldn't be admonished. He raised his hand towards her, signing for her to stop. My matrix did the same. As both hands signed for each other to stop, they met between the cold glass. Terry jerked his hand away from the field, as did my matrix. Chastising the picture person was replaced by his realization that he'd finally touched the picture window. He replaced his hand on the glass, not paying attention to the opposite person, while he smoothed his hand in circles around the mirror. His warm, sweaty palm stubbed a squeak across the glass. The sound made Terry giggle as he did it again. It was then that he noticed the picture matrix was laughing at him. Grimacing, he stopped and glared at my matrix, beginning not to like her for her patronizing play. He decided to turn to his cushion. He walked away from my matrix, checking over his shoulder from time to time to see what my matrix was doing. Of course, my matrix was leaving too, so Terry continued towards his cushion. My matrix disappeared before Terry reached his cushion, so I felt safe sitting back down on it. As he did so, the door from which the doctor had left opened, and in stepped Lenise. As the door slid closed, she introduced herself. Astonished, Terry looked at the picture window, wondering who that matrix had been, and then looked back at Lenise. Excuse me. She was dressed in floor-length dashiki. The lavender silk smoothed the floor while she walked towards the cushion. Her advance made Terry straighten, pushing upward and backing away. Lenise raised her garment lightly, revealing ankleted ankles, which crossed each other before pulling herself into a seated position. Terry stared at her, then back to the mirror, making sure that the other matrix wasn't coming back. Lenise took his actions to mean that he was frightened and was looking for a way out of the room. "It's okay, Terry," she said. "You don't need to be afraid." Afraid? He was insulted. Settling into his cushion, he exhaled his anger, watching the smile across my matrix's face. The doctor was right. He did not recognize this matrix, but he knew what service he'd like to connect this matrix with. Old had told him about reproduction, and he'd been eager to try it for some time. The thought of intercourse made Terry flush, as it made his groin hard. He looked away from my matrix and down in shame, for though old had told him about reproduction, she hadn't told him about a male's uncontrollable body changes. She'd waited too long for that discussion and missed her chance. Perplexed by his early signs, Lenise did her own wondering. She never encountered a charge acquainted with his purpose. How did this one find out? Had one of the servant matrices told him? No, there would be hushed gossip, and a scandal would eventually come to her attention. Had Diana told him out of spite? No, she wouldn't. She was constantly harping about the deviancy of Lanice's methods. Then who told him? Deciding that she'd obviously misinterpreted Charge's actions, she continued with her instruction. First, she had to calm Charge and gain his confidence. Placing her forefinger to her lips, she blew the quieting sound his way. The shh carried the scent of lipstick into the flared nostrils of the Charge. The smell intrigued him, but the gesture made him think of old. Lenise took his stoic change as indication that she'd earned his trust. Very good, Terry, she said, arranging herself more comfortably on the cushions. We will talk now. You are allowed to ask me questions. I will answer the questions that I can. The ones that I cannot answer, I will not answer. You will have to understand that this is the way. Do you understand? Terry did not answer. He had been mesmerized by the picture-puffed words that blew from her matrix lips, saddened by his memory and loss of old, and confused by the feelings he received by thinking about these two matrices at the same time. He did understand my matrix, though, and he understood all too well about the way. He'd heard that expression all his life and didn't ask for why anymore, as he had done when he was young. He ate when he was supposed to because of the way, slept when he was supposed to because of the way, and had gone along with everything the matrices told him because of the way. That is, except for having the shh about old. The anger that welled inside of him for being reminded of the way changed when he remembered the sad caution in Old's eyes. Lenise believed that Charge's silence and the way his eyes shifted in thought meant that he understood her. Terry, she said, I'm here to help you with the questions that you're thinking about right now. The Charge fidgeted on his cushion. He knew that there was no way that my matrix could possibly know his thoughts, but he was still concerned that she'd found out about old. Frightened, he buried his face into his hands. Terry, Lenise blew his name. I knew that you were afraid to talk to me because you've been taught not to talk to the matrices, and because you're embarrassed by the things that are happening to your body. Terry stopped the slow shaking of his head. That's why he was here? To talk about reproduction? Old was safe. Keeping his head lowered, he listened while my matrix explained to him why, when he went to the toilet, his body was stiff. Why, when he woke up, his body was stiff. Why, when he looked at the matrices, his body grew, and why sometimes he'd wake up wet. She told him that these were his normal part of becoming a drone. A drone? The word sounded ridiculous to him, and it was not the word that old had used. She had told him he was becoming a man. The rest of Denise's story sounded fine. His bodily changes being the reason behind his emotions of anger and shame, because he didn't know what was happening and because he was unable to calm himself. Denise's senses acknowledged and went on with the next step of the interview, a procedure the way was not to be differentiated from manipulation. Terry, she began, waiting for him to look at her before moving in closer. You have to trust me, she said, inching towards him. I am my matrix, she breathed very close to his lips. I am here for you, if you have to understand me. And you have to answer me. Do you understand? There was something behind the way she had said, I am here for you, that made Terry's body quicken. Was she the matrix he was going to lay with? Odo's descriptions cascaded into his mind. Her words swirled within his brain. His love for Odo and his hunger for my matrix rocked his morals into a carousel of concern. He was seeing my matrix and hearing his Odo, and he sent a sign his way. The gesture was too much. It belonged to him and Odo, a private gesture of respect and learning. Odo smiled to him, he blew them back. She smiled of laughter and compassion. There were tearful shushes and joyful ones. My matrix was not allowed to use a sign. Go away, he demanded.